Joining me now, Ben Rhodes, Deputy National Security Advisor under President Obama. Ben, I want to have a similar conversation with you, but about the national security apparatus, because there's a little bit of a question here as to what's going on. There's understandable fear on the part of observers about whether Donald Trump is just playing games with changing people around in the national security and defense establishment, or whether he's playing with the military because he thinks he wants to stay in office and expects them to help him do so. Give me some evaluation of what you think is going on the military and national security side.
Well, Ali, here's my evaluation. The people that he's elevated to these roles at DOD and at the National Security Agency are not the kind of people that you would turn to start a war or even to use the military to somehow stay in power. These are the same conspiracy theorists that worked for Devin Nunes, that have been trying to undermine the Russia investigation since the beginning of his administration. It includes the guy who moved that infamous Ukraine call onto a secret server to try to hide it. It includes the guy who came up with this whole theory that there was unmasking done by Obama officials that was the root of the Russia investigation. These have been debunked theories. So to me, the signal he's sending is less that he's going to use the military to stay in power and more that he's going to use the remaining time in office to continue to try to validate in some fashion his conspiracy theories by selectively releasing classified information. That's what this is about. It's about trying to exonerate Donald Trump for the reality that Russia helped him get elected in 2016. And it's about trying to undermine the incoming Biden administration in some right-wing cloud of conspiracy theory scandal.
So that's the better news. Of the two options I gave you, that's the better one, that he's not planning to use the national security apparatus and the military to stay in office. But how bad is that? I mean, Vanita just made the point that it's not good for democracy. It's not good, generally speaking, for the country. But in the end, is it work that can be undone? Donald Trump is using his last 71 days to rile up his base and to have conspiracy theories spread around, and that'll work in the world of social media. But in the end, will it matter?
I think it's really bad, Ali, for a few reasons. Number one, these people are completely incompetent and unqualified. They have no business running the United States military, the Pentagon, one of the largest, perhaps the most powerful institution in the world. And you've got a bunch of conspiracy theorists in charge. What if there's a crisis? What if something happens around the world that requires the response of the United States government and the only people left in charge are these people? That's problem one. I think problem two is this relentless conspiracy theorizing. You talk about Earth 1 and Earth 2. Well, look, a lot of our fellow Americans live in the information ecosystem of Earth 2. And if they're just being filled with conspiracy theory and hate, that's going to seek to delegitimize Joe Biden. That's going to seek to kind of launder this information into perhaps a Republican Senate and have investigations. And that's going to undermine this nation's capacity to solve problems and further divide us.
And you touch on something really interesting, Ben. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but you did touch on something interesting. The whole point of a peaceful transition of power is that the world knows that's how it's going to be. So don't mess with the United States between Election Day and Inauguration Day, because it's all good. We've got this thing sewn up and the two parties are talking to each other. The danger of not sending that message is real.
It is absolutely real, because there's two things you have to do in a transition. One, maintain the credibility of the United States government so that nobody tests us from a national security perspective. Two, make it easier for the incoming team to hit the ground running on January 20th. And they're going to do everything they can to prevent that from happening. That's going to hinder our national security, because you don't have the capacity of people to get in from the Biden transition team, get under the hood, do the work to get up to speed. I also say, Ali, it's discrediting these institutions. You know, they have the Secretary of State, say something about we're going to have a peaceful transition of power or a second Trump administration. He runs the department, the State Department, that usually issues statements expressing concern when foreign officials seek to stay in power through the kinds of means we're seeing. The United States military, the Pentagon, having people like this in charge, it's a discredit to that institution. So on his way out, Donald Trump is doing what he's done thus far, but in a flagrant way. He's kind of debasing and discrediting the United States, and he's putting his own personal interest ahead of the nation.